Welcome to RoadTrip WDW, a podcast dedicated to helping families plan their Walt Disney World vacation. This is episode 4, and I'm continuing my tip sheet review. As touched upon in the first episode, stay at the resort you can afford, but try to stay on property. Try to stay within the actual Disney World resort area at a Disney World owned hotel. We've stayed at many of the resorts over the years. Art of Animation is by far the best value when traveling with little kids, in my opinion. We've stayed there twice, and the kids love it. It's got some very nice family suite options, and those have one bedroom with a full bathroom. Also, it has like a den and like another little kitchenette area and another bathroom. So they're pretty large. They're going to be more expensive than just a regular hotel room because it has essentially like 3 queen-size beds and 2 full bathrooms. But there's also smaller rooms there that are pretty cheap, relatively speaking, to Disney World. And the pools there are great. There's one really, really big pool with like a little splashy pad area, like the Finding Nemo pool, and it's huge. And if you go underwater, you can hear them playing music, which is lovely. Also, if your children happen to just be a big fan of Little Mermaid, Cars, The Lion King, or Finding Nemo, this is definitely the resort you need to stay in. And if money isn't a problem, I would probably either stay at like the beach or the yacht club, which are essentially kind of like the same resort. They have the same pool, the boardwalk, or one of the monorail resorts. Those are the resorts that are closest to the Magic Kingdom. And for those who are just now tuning in, Magic Kingdom is the theme park with the big castle. The monorail resorts have the monorail running either through them or they have a stop there, and that's the Polynesian, the Grand Floridian, or the Contemporary. These are all amazing locations, and if you have a stroller of any size, especially a big one, staying at one of the monorail resorts is ideal because you do not have to fold up that stroller to get to the park. Now, if you're at any of the other resorts and you are taking the resort provided transportation like the bus, then you're going to be required to fold up your stroller just to get to the Magic Kingdom. So this is really nice, especially for families and those that are planning on spending a lot of time at Magic Kingdom. Also, these hotels have great restaurant and food options. They usually have a few sit-down restaurants and a few like fast food sort of locations, and they are amazing, and they have really nice amenities. Now, there's always lots of stuff to do at the resorts, and I don't think enough families really take time to explore what all the resort has to offer. But for instance, most of them, if not all, do have like movies or games by the pool. They have different pool activities. They have usually like a little list of activities going on throughout the day, whether it's like bingo or trivia or crafting. There's lots of things to do at the resorts that aren't just known about and listed on all the message boards and things. You really just have to get there and ask what the activity agenda is. Now, I also really love the boardwalk area resorts because those are the ones that are in walking distance to Epcot and also technically Hollywood Studios. We love staying at the Yacht and Beach Club. Our last trip was at the Beach Club, and the pool there is the best on property. It's essentially a mini water park, and the bottom of the pool, or most of the pool, is sandy, and they have a really good slide. Even adults like it. They also have a great little kiddie area with a little kiddie slide for those who don't have kids big enough to go on the slide. It's a very exclusive pool, so if you are not staying at that resort and you try to go to that pool, or what they call pool hop, you will be denied because they will try to scan your magic band and they will realize that you are not staying there. And And while I'm going out of order and confusing everybody, if we go back to those monorail resorts, I put a tip on here that the Grand Floridian has a nice hair boutique. So you can get like a similar princess style makeup and hair do if you didn't get a chance to book the Bippity Boppity Boutique, which is the typical Disney makeup, like a princess sort of salon. And they also have like a tea party event and character dining and beautiful grounds. And also that resort plus the other resorts in that area have amazing views of the fireworks. Also, the Wilderness Lodge is beautiful. We've stayed there. It has some really good dining options that are expanding as we speak. There's also smaller events that are near there at Camp Wilderness. So if you're really looking to save some money and you have a big family, you might want to check out the cabins at Fort Wilderness, or stay in an RV, or go camping. They do have that availability at Walt Disney World, and they also have a campfire sing-along and making s'mores over there. We stayed at the Wilderness Lodge, which is kind of next door to Fort Wilderness. We weren't too impressed with our regular standard room. We thought it was pretty small. I mean, we also travel with a huge double stroller, so that takes up a lot of room. But for us, when we were there, we weren't too impressed with the room size. But again, we carried a lot of baggage. We had the stroller, we had our luggage, we had a pack and play at that time. So I preferred other size rooms, but we did have a little balcony, and we weren't supposed to have a good view because we didn't pay anything extra for a good view because we were trying to save money. But we actually did get to see the fireworks from our room, which was really nice. There at Wilderness Lodge, check out Whispering Canyon Cafe for a very playful dining atmosphere for children. I don't want to ruin all the hijinks, but it's really fun, and they get everyone involved, and they play practical jokes on you. Also, next door at the Wilderness Campground, they have the Hoop-de-Doo musical review. It's like a dinner show, and until this last trip this year, I had no idea what to expect or what it was all about, but it was so much fun, and the kids cracked up. It was good family humor, but we actually did laugh too. Even the adults got it. The actors are amazing, and it's a fun dinner show, and the food is pretty good too. Now, going back to the actual Wilderness Lodge, there's a fine dining place called Artist Point, and I've never been there, but my sister and her husband, they loved it, and they thought it was super good. Artist Point is at some point pretty soon getting a revamp into a Snow White character dining location. I'll provide more details once I get those. If we go back around to the Polynesian Resort, it has amazing restaurants as well. Now, if you are a type of person who loves really decadent, cinnamony, sugary sorts of things, then head on over to the Polynesian and get yourself some Tonga toast. And you can get that at the very iconic Kona Cafe, which is a little sit-down cafe restaurant with lots of great breakfast foods. Or I think you can get a version of it down at Captain Cook's, which is the quick service version. They also have a neat restaurant that's very popular. It's called Ohana. I hear it is amazing dinner sorts of food, and also the breakfast there is pretty great. You know, you get your typical breakfast food, but it's all brought to you family style, so it's kind of like a buffet that comes to you, and there's Lilo and Stitch characters for breakfast. Now at dinner, it becomes more like a Brazilian steakhouse, where they come around with like skewers of meat, and everyone gets a platter of like noodles and chicken wings and really fun bread. I keep looking at reviews from it, and my mouth is watering. I can't wait to check it out for myself. Something that a lot of us Disney World goers like to do when time allows is to resort hop. So going to different resorts that we're not staying at, maybe just to enjoy the atmosphere, do some activities, possibly check out restaurants, or just walk around. I do advise that. It seems like on all of our visits, we do go inside some other resort just to check it out. And sometimes I'm really intrigued by a resort that I might want to stay at in the future. And so we'll just go by there and just check it out. Maybe get a snack at one of their little counter service locations. So don't underestimate the value of staying at the Disney World Swan and Dolphin resorts. Now, they are like sister resorts that are pretty much connected, but they're very unusual. They get all of the perks of a Disney World resort hotel, but they are not owned by Disney World. So there are a few differences, like they don't do the magic bands. You can't get into your room with your magic band, which is a bracelet that Disney World resort goers get that works as their credit card, their room key, stuff like that. The Swan and Dolphin, of course, don't have that capability, and therefore they can't charge things to their magic band because they don't have one for this Swan and Dolphin resort. They also don't have access to the Disney dining plan, which we will talk about at a future episode. But they are less expensive than some of the other resorts in the area, and the amenities are awesome. The location is on the boardwalk area, so it's in walking distance to Hollywood Studios, walking distance from Epcot. Frankly, I love the Dolphin, and I like the Dolphin more than the Swan, even though they're pretty much the same thing, because I like the Dolphin lobby. The Dolphin lobby is huge, beautiful, right when you walk in. I mean, it feels and it smells like vacation. It's a very grand lobby. Seems like they have a cute little coffee shop there to the right when you walk in. And, well, I mean, immediately right when you walk in this little foyer area, if you look up at night, you'll see this fiber optic shooting star ceiling. And they pump in this amazing gardeny smell, which it's just so relaxing and so great. There's also several restaurants to check out at the Dolphin, and there's a few at the Swan too, which you just kind of walk across a courtyard to get to. Also, if you and your husband or you and a friend want to have a nice steak dinner, check out Shula's Steakhouse there at the Dolphin. And with your meal, if you eat at Shula's or any of the other table service, like sit down restaurant meals, you actually get free childcare for those that are 4 years and up, pretty much those that are potty trained. So that's pretty cool. We've never utilized that yet because we always end up going with someone under 4, but you better believe it. Once my baby boy, who's 1 year old, hits 4, we will take the Swan and Dolphin up on their generous offer. I also love the pool at the Swan and Dolphin. There's lots of these little swimming areas and coves. They have a few hot tubs, and they have a slide, and my kids adore the slide. And it's one of those slides where they do have lifeguards, but they allow you to kind of go down backwards if you really wanted to. I don't think they let you go down head first, but they're not too strict. And they also let you go down with the puddle jumpers and floaties on so that you can feel assured that your kid isn't going to get to the bottom without you catching them and sink. So we love that. And keep in mind, the Swan and Dolphin is just a few steps away from the boardwalk. And the boardwalk is a beautiful area of the Disney World Resort. It is a hotel, but it's also a destination where they have shops and restaurants, and you walk around this beautiful lake. And it seems like it's designed after a boardwalk area in New England. You get that same sort of turn-of-the-century feel to it. There's cute live entertainment. The kids love it around there. They have like people juggling and people being silly. You can also view fireworks from that location. They have an ice cream parlor, which is amazing. It's called Ample Hills Creamery. And if you go there, do yourself a favor and get the Ooey Gooey Butter Cake Sundae. It's to die for. I get the Ooey Gooey Butter Cake topped with Ooey Gooey Butter Cake flavored ice cream. And you also get 3 different flavors of ice cream you can throw on top of that. I also like the oatmeal lace, which is good. They give you a topping option to the sundae, so I pretty decadent and loaded it up with caramel. And this was the best ice cream sundae any of us had ever had. My kids did get these ice cream cones that were like chocolate ice cream cones, like chocolate cake cones, and they were not good. Do not get them. If you see cones that look like Oreo cookies, do not get them there. They don't taste that good. But my whole family definitely ate mine. It's okay, I shared. But it was so rich, none of us could finish it, but it was so good. There's not a lot of seating there, so just be prepared that if you go down to the boardwalk, you may have to walk around and hold your ice cream. There is some seating, but if you're going in the daytime, it's out in the hot sun. There's not a lot of covered seating areas right outside Ample Hills. Also, if you can't figure out what you want from Ample Hills, just ask for samples. They will give you samples, and then you can figure it out. Moving right along, you can get your discounted Disney World tickets and other theme park tickets at undercovertourist.com. Now, if you compare prices, you will notice that the more days you stay, the better the discount, to the point where there may be very little difference between a 4 or 5 day park ticket. We always choose the park ticket that includes Park Hopper plus the water parks. My kids love the water parks. We've never really had a chance to just completely ride just big rides, but my kids love all the rides that they're big enough for. The family raft ride at Blizzard Beach is longer than expected. Now the baby couldn't go on it, but everyone else could. It was a lot of fun. It really may be one of the longest rides I've ever ridden. The one at Typhoon Lagoon, they have a new family raft ride there that's supposed to be the longest in the world, but I didn't like it as much. I didn't think it went as fast or it was as fun. I mean, it was still cool, but it just wasn't as good as Blizzard Beach. They love the water parks. I can't say that enough, and it may seem silly to go to a water park on family vacation, but for us, it's really about what makes the kids the happiest, and the water parks make my kids very, very happy. I love the mini donuts that you can get at both the water parks. So you can get these mini donuts at Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach, and I like the ones where, keep in mind, they're all like hot and fresh, like they are warm. They have just made these. I mean, and they taste like fresh battered donuts, and they're tiny, and they can cover them with just like sugar, but I prefer the cinnamon sugar mini donuts. They do come with toppings if you need them, but you're not going to need the toppings. Just get the cinnamon and sugar. Now, if you want to, go ahead and get like some white chocolate or some chocolate topping, but the cinnamon sugar is so good, and they are not shy with that cinnamon sugar. I mean, they give you enough cinnamon sugar that the bottom of your little Chinese takeout to-go box of donuts is filled with cinnamon sugar, and of course my kids just eat it with their bare hands after we are finished with the donuts. They give you an option of buying like 6 mini donuts or 12, something like that. If you go for 6, you're going to regret it. Go for the 12. If you go for 12, I think sometimes they actually throw a few more in there too. Just go for the big size. Don't skimp with the little ones, okay? Hey, you're on vacation. You get the big size. And the kids are going to want them, and you're not going to want to share once you taste them. Another tip, and this applies to all the theme parks and all the resorts, look around. The details, the effort put into decorating and designing this huge resort is incredible. The smallest of things can be amazing experiences. Like, we saw a duck in the pool once, and I swear my kids can sometimes care more about that silly sort of stuff rather than racing to a ride. So let them have fun. Enjoy it. Let them be kids. Even if it's not running to a line or riding an awesome ride, your kids can have fun doing the smallest of things. And there's tons of little bitty animals like ducks to look at that are relatively tame, since they do live on property. They are a little bit more human friendly. So the squirrels, the bunnies, they will come very, very close to you, which will delight your children until they try to chase them. And then the animals, of course, will run away. But it's really cool. Also, if you're feeling too stressed and you're just feeling too hot, or you are just feeling overwhelmed, it is completely okay to go back to the hotel and relax. As I've mentioned on that first podcast, we always take a midday break There is no point in trying to go from sun up to sundown at one of the theme parks, because my kids aren't going to be able to handle it. They are going to have a miserable time. It gets so hot in the middle of the day too. So we pretty much always go back to the hotel and relax for several hours in the middle of our day. All right, this next tip is very important, and one that a lot of people will not take me seriously on, but something that you will regret. It's also a bit controversial, but here it is. Get in shape. You are going to walk a lot. If you aren't used to walking 10 miles a day, then you need to start building up your endurance ahead of time. If you have problems with your thighs or other parts rubbing when you walk, look up different products that prevent chafing. If you are known to chafe, I can almost guarantee you, you will chafe, and you will chafe severely if you do not take precaution. This can make your trip miserable if you are not prepared for the physical endurance part of it, and prepared for blisters and rubs in areas that you don't want to think about rub together. There's lots of different ideas when it comes to chafing, like diaper cream, stuff the runners use. Look up stuff that like marathon runners use. There's also this stuff called anti-monkey butt cream or something. I'm not real sure. My boxer-loving husband has learned the hard way that he needs to wear briefs. I don't know if that helps anybody there. But please get in shape. If you are a bit heavier and you are thinking of an awesome Disney vacation of riding rides, but you're not really used to doing much physical activity as we do as parents, we get in our ruts and routines, just expect it's not going to be as fun. If you're out of shape, you'll be out of breath and you'll need to take more breaks, and you're going to hold yourself back, and then you're going to be a little bit more stressed out. So start walking a lot ahead of time. Several months in advance for our trips, I usually make sure I can walk pretty good. So I'll walk 4 to 6 miles in the evening. I know that's a lot, but that's when I actually have my sanity time and I listen to my other Disney World podcasts. But for me, I think by walking up to 4 to 6 miles extra, and I'm not counting what I'm doing during the day, like in the work day. I don't count that. I'm not wearing a Fitbit to tell me, oh, I've made it to 4 miles. I'm talking I walk 4 extra miles on purpose in my neighborhood pretty much every single day, just building up for Disney World, because I don't want to feel out of shape or feel like I can't keep up. And it's just so much walking. The more physically fit you are, the better you're going to feel, and the easier Disney will be. And for those who are a little bit more poo size, so I'm thinking about my bigger people, keep in mind there are a few restrictions on some of the rides which can be extremely embarrassing. Things like Flight of Passage or some of the roller coasters like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. If you're a bigger person, these rides can be either uncomfortable or you might not be able to fit. So do your research if you are a bit larger to make sure you're going to be able to ride it, because y'all, it is so embarrassing, and it makes me feel terrible when people can't ride rides that they've tried to go on. So do your research ahead of time and just make sure you're not going to be put in one of those uncomfortable spots. And the same goes for those, especially for Flight of Passage, which is a very awesome ride at Animal Kingdom. Those people who are really tall, I've heard of men that are just kind of just large. I mean, they weigh a lot, but they're tall, not because they're too obese or anything. They're just large guys with large, calf muscles, things like that. You have to position your body and your legs in this seat, and for some people, they are just too big and bulky and tall to ride. So do check the height restrictions and the physical limitations of all the rides if you or one of your family members may be a bit more poo-sized or tall. I hope y'all know when I say poo-sized, that's the Disney World people's version of saying large, like Winnie the Pooh He's kind of made of stuff and fluff. He's a little fluffy. So when I say Pooh sized, I'm meaning Winnie the Pooh sized. So the reality of Disney World is that it gets really crowded, and it can often be overwhelming and overstimulating, especially when you're tired. And if you've made it to vacation with kids, you've done all this planning, and you're going, you're going to end up getting tired. And so if you go to the parks all day without a break, you probably won't enjoy your vacation as much. You're going to feel overwhelmed, and you're just going to be too tired to enjoy it. So do give yourself some rest time. When you get there, just go ahead and expect some bad stuff to happen. Go ahead and count on something. It's not going to be perfect. There are things that are not going to be as planned. You're going to encounter rude guests, and some of your fun experiences won't go as you had visioned in your head. Your first view of the castle may be hindered by a lightning storm, or someone's going to need a potty. Or in our cases, we will have kids who are fully potty trained end up going to the bathroom on themselves, and you will have to adapt. You will have to adapt your plan several times, and that's okay. You're not going to get everything done. If this is your once-in-a-lifetime trip, manage your expectations. You're still not going to be able to get everything done. You could live there and still not get everything done. Each trip we go on, we have an idea of what we want to do, but there's just no way. I stayed 9 days and still didn't ride a few things I wanted to ride, like Carousel of Progress. I still didn't get to eat at some of the restaurants I'd planned. And I mean, I'm talking about, like, I would go to the website and look at the menus, and I would plan our entire dinner. And so I was fully dead set on these restaurants, and we just couldn't go. Or there was one time we couldn't go on Thunder Mountain Railroad for the whole trip. I mean, we just skipped it. That same trip, I did not see most of the countries at Epcot, and frankly, with the kids, I've had that problem a lot. I really don't get to explore Epcot as much as I want to. There's also been a time where I did not have an enjoyable morning at Hollywood Studios when my family did not have the same fast passes as we did. If you go with other people who don't have the same plan or fast passes, it's a lot tougher, and so you'll have to plan on things not going as smooth. Keep in mind that things get hot and it's crowded, and if you go with the idea that you will be hot and it will be crowded and you will get tired, then you're gonna be doing better than the pack of people who are expecting to have full 100% magic, this magical experience the whole time. Even adults need naps. Just keep that in mind. Even if you're not a napper, sometimes it's good to try to take a nap in the middle of the day. Temper tantrums do get in the way. And adults, again, can have temper tantrums as well. You or your spouse will get cranky. Someone's going to get cranky, I promise. Like, an adult will get cranky. Just go ahead and tell yourself, you know what? One of us is going to be really ticked at some point. We're all going to get cranky. And of course, the kids will have meltdowns, and they'll have them in public, and they'll embarrass you. And you'll also see other kids having meltdowns, and you'll see other people screaming. You'll see people from other countries that you don't understand. You'll have big groups of people. There's big Brazilian tour groups that are chanting and yelling, and it may even get a little bit scary at times. There's going to be some things that happen that you don't plan for. And if those sorts of things are going to ruin your vacation, you don't need to be going to Disney World. Disney World is filled with so many different people and so variable weather. You just can't plan for everything. You just got to plan for some mishaps. You can even make a game out of it. There's like a worst case scenario bingo. You get a whole bingo card filled with different potential scenarios of bad things happening. Like, one space could be you hear a parent yelling at a child. Another space could be someone was smoking a cigarette in the non-smoking section of a park. Or another spot could be you miss a fast pass, or you have to cancel a reservation, or a ride gets shut down, or you get stuck on a ride. I mean, you could kind of make it fun, and if you actually get a bingo, maybe that could lead to something exciting, like a little prize. That's just one of my tips to help things go a little bit smoother during the bad times. But ultimately, the goal is to have fun and do adapt your plans when needed. All right, so this is going to wrap up my episode 4, and that's the last of my tip sheets. I'm sure you're all ready to be done with my scattered and random disoriented tip sheets, but I'm glad I at least got those out. Again, if you are a Midwesterner or you are planning to take a trip to Branson, please check out my Branson podcast. It's Road Trip Branson. You can follow along with us on Facebook. I'm going to be opening up a Road Trip Branson Facebook page and a RoadTrip WDW Facebook page where you can connect with me, ask questions, give me any sort of feedback that you'd like to give me. I'd like to thank you all for your patience, and if you have been a long-time follower, please let me know any other subjects or topics that you would like me to cover. All right, this is Rebecca Schlau for Road Trip WDW signing off. See you next time.